Hello friends! It has now been 1 year since I started my YouTube channel. I had made a few videos before that were just kind of like hobby videos about manga collecting, but that was the day that I got serious, was the end of January 2024. So since we've made it through a whole year, I just hit 100 videos. So I just wanted to do a little recap, look back on the year, what videos did the best, what did I learn, what surprised me. If you're here to see my finances for the YouTube channel, I made a whole deep dive video about that already. So I'm not going to get into like the financial part on this video, but I will link that video in the description if you want to know more about the financial aspect of the channel. So first, let's just go over some basic stats. So in this past year, I made about 95 videos. I'm looking at this now, I'm going to add the visual component of it in editing, so those numbers might change ever so slightly when I do that, but you know, that's the basics. I got 604,000 views, 85 watch hours, 15,000 subscribers, and made $3,200 in YouTube revenue. My channel got monetized at the end of March after I had a video that kind of popped. So it only took me 2 months to get monetized. I was expecting it to take all year. So I was ecstatic with this result, and I'm extremely happy to be ending that first year with 15,000 subscribers, because I thought I might be ending the year with like 5,000 at best. That was kind of like my stretch goal, particularly because I don't really see a whole lot of really popular author tubers, and I was not exactly trying to be an author tuber. I was kind of just trying to do more of a creative life channel, but still that was like the closest I could find. So I was happily surprised that the channel did as well as it did, considering that it's not like the most popular niche. The most popular videos were 8 Severe Steps to a Frugal Creative Life, which currently stands at 79,000 views. I wrote 40 books in 4 years. Here's What I Learned, which stands at 66,000 views. That was the first one that really did well and that monetized the channel. You Should Write Self-Indulgent Trash. That one was only 2 months ago I uploaded that, and it's already at 60,000 views. And Devastated, hashtag Hurricane Helene. That one has 29,000 views. And that one's a bit of a weird one because people were just looking for Hurricane Helene content right in the aftermath of it happening. So I got a lot of views that were not like my usual audience, and it was also like a very quick high spike and then it died off really quickly. But nevertheless, that one was one of my top performers. And then I wrote 40 books in 4 years, part 2. My best productivity tips stands at 23,000 views. Oh, and how much I've made self-publishing in 8 years, lifetime indie earnings deep dive has 19,000 views. Those are all the videos that have more views than I have subscribers. So those are the ones I consider to be like the really top performers that went beyond my usual audience. I have seen my audience grow to, usually it always sits around a third average of my total subscriber count. So I started out getting around, 2,000 views when the channel first started to do well, and I picked up like 5,000 or 6,000 subscribers pretty quickly. And now I'm at 15,000, and I'm averaging usually around 5,000 views. Obviously some are less, some are more. Sometimes I put out videos that I know aren't really going to do that well. And then other times I put out videos that I have a feeling might do really well, and I'm not always correct. But most of the videos that did the best involve like a list of like tips or instructions, so I can see why they did well. They usually had a good thumbnail as well, which is like obvious. You should have a good thumbnail, but it's not always easy when you're a writing channel, because if you make a video that's like how to write a query letter, you can't make a really exciting thumbnail where you're like, because it's a query letter, or like how to make good characters. There's just, you can't get like that really good pop emotional, like suck in a wide audience thumbnail, because it's just not that kind of video. So I try my best with thumbnails, and I can see which ones perform the best, but not every video is conducive to that kind of thing. And throughout the year, it was very up and down. I had a couple videos do really well early on, and then through summer and early fall, there was a real slump. The channel was still growing. It was just very slow growth. And then the Helene video and the You Should Write Self-Indulgent Trash video both came in the fall. So that kind of gave the channel like a good push at the end of the year. So as you might imagine, YouTube is very up and down, but what did remain more steady was Patreons and things like that. I'm going to talk about that a little more. So the things I learned this year. When I first started, I really was a little more focused on like that my camera skills weren't that great. I'm just using my iPhone to film these videos, and I am not a cinematographer by any means. I really felt like I had to like look presentable for the camera, or that I was going to get a lot of nasty comments about being ugly or something, because that was my experience on YouTube in my mid-20s. So I bought some makeup. I tried to make myself look nice. I tried to get good lighting. I mean, I do, you know, you do want good lighting. That is true. But I have learned throughout the year that some of my best performing videos really are just like me talking to the camera, and it doesn't seem to matter if I'm wearing makeup. So I've gotten a lot more relaxed about just the visual aspect. If I'm doing a vlog or something where I am moving around a little more, I try to get good angles, and sometimes I have days where I just don't really feel that great about my appearance. Like, you know, we all have those days, like maybe my face just seems kind of pale or blotchy or something, and I'll put on makeup sometimes then. But I've relaxed a lot more about it than when I started, which is nice because all those little things take a ton of time. It's definitely easier to set up a video when you can just start. I also have a general feeling that like a lot of the men I watch on YouTube are not wearing makeup, but the women are like really done up, and that irritates me. So a part of me wants to just kind of show up like unfiltered. I have realized you don't need to be great at cinematography. You don't need to be super hot and like made up and have fake eyelashes and all that stuff to have a good channel. Of course, it depends what kind of channel you have. If you have like a travel channel, you probably want to have better cinematography than a channel about writing. And if you have a beauty tips channel, you probably don't want to look like me, but you know. I was surprised how often I get tired of looking at my own face because you film the video, you edit the video. I always go to the chat with the premiere of the video, and then it's playing in the background. I end up seeing myself or talking, hearing myself talk at least 3 times for every video. And I get really tired of just like, I don't even like seeing the thumbnails of my face. I just get exhausted of myself. So I think it helps to have a little bit of a narcissistic streak to do YouTube, and I'm a little bit of a ham, which probably helps, but what keeps me going is the community, which is awesome. And that brings me to one thing that I think has helped my channel, and that is important for a lot of channels like this that have a mix of like advice and daily life stuff and deep thoughts that I have and things like that. I try to always remember the psychology of the audience. Like, humans are inherently selfish creatures, for better or for worse. I try to use my selfishness for good. Like, it's gratifying to have a YouTube channel, and it's gratifying to write books and have people read them. But I always try to think when I'm making a video that it's not about me, it's about what I can offer the audience. And I think it is easy to lose sight of that sometimes, especially when you are getting a ton of nice comments and people who are just like, just love listening to you talk. I just love having you on in the background. It can be easy to think like, oh, I could just do anything. People just like me. But I try to sit down regularly and think about like my video ideas. I try to listen to feedback from you guys. I try to always think like, what can I offer you? Either practical or emotional stuff, whether it's to relax you or motivate you or make you a better writer. Whatever it is, I try to keep thinking about it's about the audience. If you're thinking about a YouTube channel, that is like the #1 tip that I would give anybody, is remember that it is about the audience and not about you if you're trying to grow a successful channel and a successful like Patreon or memberships or something to go along with it. One random thing I didn't know is that when you get monetized, YouTube gives you access to a larger music library and your videos also upload faster. At least that's been my experience. And that was one thing I didn't realize there'd be like some extra perks to getting monetized. So that's another thing to motivate you if you have a YouTube channel and you're trying to get monetized. You'll actually get a few other bonuses when you get monetized that I don't see a lot of people mention that. So I just thought I would. Viral videos are the #1 way that the channel has grown. I see all my largest spikes from viral videos. And by viral, I mean videos that go well beyond your current audience. It will mean different things to everybody, but like if you have 3,000 subscribers, to me a video that gets like 10,000 or more, that's like viral for you because you're attracting a lot of people that aren't your normal audience. And that has been the main way my channel has grown. I suspect if I had not had any really viral videos, I probably would be standing at more like 5,000 subscribers right now. That probably 2/3 of my audience has come from the most popular videos. But they are a blessing and a curse because the community on YouTube is really awesome. It's way better than I expected it would be. I get the same people over and over. I start to recognize a lot of your names and kind of know who you are, and it's so nice and it's like so fun. I didn't expect just how awesome that would be. It's to me so much better than any other social media platform as far as, you know, it's not like a real community like hanging out with a friend, but I do feel like I get more real benefit, deeper discussion than other social media platforms for me personally. But when you go viral, you start getting a bunch of, you know, random people that aren't your usual people, and they'll just nitpick all kinds of things that your normal people, like the things your normal people like about you, you'll just have some dude blow in and like bitch at you for it. So that's like the less fun side of going viral, is like brace yourself for that dude. And if this video goes viral, hey that dude. You know, you don't have to keep watching this video if you hate my voice. Just saying. The other thing that just in general surprised me is how incredibly useful my skills I built up as a writer and like an indie publisher marketing skills have been for YouTube. I didn't really think about how similar these two things are, but for one thing, your thumbnail and your title, very much like when you're thinking about your book title and your book cover, ideally you're thinking about like, how can I draw people in? How can I convey what type of video this is through the title and thumbnail? How can I work in good keywords? Things like that. Those are really similar on YouTube and indie publishing. Also, videos should tell a story. Having a good script and a good flow to your video, just like a book. You don't want to start, I mean, sometimes I start videos like rambling a little bit casually about life, but most of the time I try to get to the point pretty quickly and have some kind of hook or tell people like, here's the interesting information I'm about to deliver. Just like you would in a book, you want to start in an interesting place. And I try to stay on topic. I try to keep the pacing good. I mean, just like a book, everybody's going to have different ideas of what good pacing is, but basically I'm writing scripts and I'm trying to have an interesting story to tell with every video. Hey, disheveled morning editing Lydia here, to also add that as far as scripts go, when I started, I would always dictate a full-on script into my phone, and then I would edit it, and then I would read from the script and then ad-lib little bits or add little bits as needed. And this took a lot of time in the beginning, but I needed to do it because whenever I sat down in front of the camera, I would just be like, and like my brain would freeze completely. And for months, it felt like this would never stop and I would never really get comfortable in front of the camera. But then at some point, I realized that I had made the switch and become comfortable speaking to the camera off the cuff. So nowadays, I just write down like a page of like the points I want to hit. If I've come up with any like lines I really want to make sure I get in there, I'll write them all down. but I don't do full-on scripts anymore, which has helped streamline the timeline quite a lot. It still takes me a while to write the list of bullet points, though, because I spend a lot of time thinking about them before I even write them down, like making sure I'm getting in all the information that I have to say on any given subject in the most clear and concise way. So anyway, that's a little bit about scripts. And I noticed when I watch some other videos of people, actually even people who are writers, sometimes it feels like they're not really thinking about like telling a story. So that's another thing I think super important. Easy to forget that even though YouTube is visual, a lot of people are just listening, and you really want to have the storytelling in there. Then I wanted to talk a little bit about other income sources. If you've watched any other creators' videos about making money on YouTube or making a career as a content creator, you will know that very few people rely solely on YouTube AdSense income for their income. And I knew that going in. I did a lot of research on YouTube channels before I started one in a serious way. And originally my plan was not even to start my Patreon, or, well, I actually already had a Patreon, but not to really start promoting it until I'd gotten like a year in, because I wanted people to trust me and know that I was here to stay and that I was going to be delivering reliable content. And I thought that's the point when I would ask people to join my Patreon. But as early as like March, April, when the channel started to pop, I had people that were starting to join my little baby Patreon anyway. And then I had people starting to ask me for a Discord server very quickly. So that ended up being something I started pretty much simultaneously with monetizing the channel. And this is like my biggest maybe don't, is I feel like I started the Discord server a little too soon. If I could go back in time, I probably would not have started it as soon as like 3 people asked for it, because then people joined and there wasn't very many people there, and almost no one who started in like the early months of the Discord stuck around. And I felt like a really like heavy sense of pressure to like, how am I going to make this place interesting? It was a little extra stress I added to myself. And I think if I had waited until there was like more intense demand, I would have had more people all come in at once, and it might have been a little easier to like start it off. Also, I did not start doing YouTube memberships until the end of 2024. Patreon pays you more, like they take less of a cut, and I thought it was more valuable to have people on Patreon. You have a little more options about what you can offer them and things like that. But having started the YouTube membership, I now realize that you just attract totally different audiences for Patreon and YouTube. I also have Substack because some people just don't like Patreon or have like problems with Patreon payments or something like that. So yeah, if I could go back in time, I would do YouTube memberships right away, and I would offer Patreon and YouTube memberships bonus videos, and I would do the same video for each, but I would wait a little while on the Discord until there was more demand and more audience. But whatever, in the long run it worked out, so my Discord is definitely starting to get more consistently active and people are sticking around a little longer. Also, side note, YouTube memberships don't link to Discord, so another reason they're a totally different audience. The YouTube membership people, I can't even put them on the Discord, but they join it anyway. They get different things, like you can watch YouTube videos on your TV. So I watch all my YouTube on the TV, so I would probably actually prefer YouTube membership rather than a Patreon myself for the creators that I follow. Another side note, just if you ever find yourself in this situation where you are creating a Patreon and a Discord, the people that participate more excitedly on your Discord are also more likely to just leave. And at first I didn't realize that. Now I think I get it, that those are like the people that joined because they wanted to see what your Discord was like, and they check it out, and if it doesn't really groove with them, then they leave. Whereas people who just join your Patreon, like for your extra videos or maybe just to support you financially in general, the quiet ones, they're a little more likely to stick around. Also, you get a little more attached to the people that join your Discord, so then they leave and you like worry about them, hope that they're okay. So just something to be mentally prepared for, that you're going to have to like not take it personally if people jump in and out. It's totally fine if you do that. I don't want anybody to feel bad about it. I now get that that's normal, but I'd never done this before. So at first, whenever somebody would leave, I would be like, oh my God, I hope they're okay. I hope you're all okay if you were on my Discord and you left. The other thing I wish that I had done is started an Amazon affiliate account right away, because I have been selling books, my books that I talk about on the channel, as well as sometimes writing craft books that I talk about, like right from the start. And I could have been capturing extra income right away if I'd had an Amazon affiliate account. Also, I did not realize that Amazon actually lets you organize like little lists, which would have been great to know from the beginning, because I have like different series and I have like, here's all my audiobooks, here's the writing craft books I recommend, all of that. Would have been great to have that from the start. But the last time I had an Amazon affiliate account, I remember it being a lot more of a pain, and I don't remember there being any lists. So like it took a long time for them to approve me. So I just was like, nah, I'm not going to bother with that. And then finally I was thinking I'd better try to get that little extra bit of income. And now I've been making like $1 a day from Amazon affiliate income, which is not like going to change your life or anything, but an extra $400 a year, let's say, that's not nothing. One of the other main ways that YouTubers make extra money is by having like courses or private coaching. And I do a little bit of that through Patreon. I've done some first page critiques. I did some critiques of like someone's synopses and, you know, like, is this marketable? Which one's the most marketable? I've been talking to a couple other people about doing some critique work. So if you're interested in that for me, that is a service I offer, and you can contact me through my email. But I don't really want to do a whole lot of it because it takes time away from my writing and it's not really my focus. Even though I do like doing that sort of thing, there's just only so much of me. And I also am not super interested in doing a course. I would probably only do it if some like third party approached me to like work as a partner and like for them to handle the course part, because I don't really want to spend time developing a course. And just in general, to me, it's really important to offer this information cheaply, because when I was a little baby author and I was super broke, and it was very hard to get like really good professional information about writing at the time, because it all seemed like it was paywalled. Like I was writing young adult, and generally you would join the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators to get access to conferences and things like that, where you could hear from professional authors, editors, agents. And you had to pay like an annual fee, and then it was hundreds of dollars to attend a conference, and then you needed a hotel room. And like, I run anime cons, I get it. It costs money to put on a convention and get guests and all of that. I'm not saying they're wrong for charging money, but it was also extremely painful for me, because I was so broke, but I was so hungry for it, and I was working so hard, and I would scrimp together money. I went to one conference, and it seemed like everybody that I talked to who was attending was just like doing it really casually and hobbyist, but they had plenty of money, like they could just do it as a hobby. And then there was a conference right in my home city, and I could not afford to go. But I was so eager to like get that information from published authors that I tagged along with my friend Larissa, who had volunteered to pick up an author at the airport, like the guests were incoming. So we both went to the airport and we picked up Kathleen Dewey, who was a YA author. She's since passed away, but she was such an amazing lady. And we talked, and she was so lovely and encouraging. And she told me like, hey, since you can't afford to go to this, you can use my hotel room throughout the day. You could write there, and then like after the conference officially ends, that way you'll be here and you can like hobnob with authors and stuff at the bar. So because of Kathleen Dewey, I was able to hang out and by the way, I had sold a book at this point, but I was so broke still. Like I wasn't even a total newbie at this point. I was just like desperate to be amongst my colleagues and like learn more. So I always think of Kathleen Dewey and how incredibly kind she was to offer me a way to be present and be in the room. And I really don't like to offer like really expensive stuff here on my channel. Again, it's totally like, I get why people do charge money for courses and conferences. They take a lot of work to develop and put on. But my personal goal with this channel is to offer as much information as I can that you can access for no to little money. Part of that is just like, as I've gotten older, I guess I've been thinking more about like, how can I be a good human? I don't want to sound overly like virtuous or anything. I often sometimes feel like I'm kind of useless because I don't drive and I'm very wimpy. So there's a lot of things that I can't help people with. I can't pick you up from the airport and I can't like help you move or anything like that. So I just want to feel like I have something I can do on this planet to help other people. And the best thing I got is writing advice. So here I am. Anyway, that got a little philosophical, but basically that's been my first year on YouTube. It's been amazing and life-changing and maybe one of the best things I've ever done. And most of that is thanks to all of you who watch these videos and comment and attend premiere chats and just generally participate in this community. You guys are so wonderful. The one last like word of warning I want to say, if you're thinking of starting a YouTube channel, is think about how you're going to manage your time with like communications as your channel grows, because this is something that I am thinking about heartily right now. Early on in the channel, I was trying to answer every comment and go to every premiere chat and participate in my Discord and answer every email and every Instagram comment and private message and everything everywhere. And it was impossible almost from the beginning, and it keeps getting more impossible. And if you've ever emailed me or sent me a message or commented asking me a question and I didn't answer it, I can 100% guarantee you it's because I'm just overwhelmed. There are so many of you. There are so many comments and emails and messages. They come at me from all directions. I could easily spend my entire day just answering them all. So I'm struggling with how to prioritize all of that stuff because I don't want to just like not answer any of it. That's just part of why I like being here. But I also have to acknowledge that I still have books to write and a life to live, and I can't actually spend my entire life answering comments and emails and messages. So that's like something I'm working on. And I am extremely sorry if you asked an important question or something and I didn't answer you, or you sent me like a really personal message and I didn't answer you. I am trying, but I can't do it all. And it's a bit random which ones I actually answer and which ones I don't. So there's that. Okay. I think that's about everything I have to say about my first year on YouTube. I hope this was interesting and helpful. I had a very nice script for it and it turned into a bit of a ramble nevertheless. If you have any questions about YouTubing or any thoughts about any of this, I still love those comments, even if sometimes I suck at answering them. Sometimes I don't though. Sometimes I go on a big comment answering binge. And if you're new here, my name is Lydia Foxglove and I have been a fantasy writer since 2009. This channel is about living a creative life in general and writing in particular, and I talk about all aspects of it here. And if you want to read any of my books, there is a link in the description. And if you want more from me about all this other stuff, I have a Patreon and a Substack and YouTube memberships. Patreon and Substack have the same content on both, and they both have a free tier, and the $5 tier gets you access to my Discord and bonus videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!